This is how much I've lost with Jenny Craig. 34 kilos of pizza. Now I've lost the weight, I feel dangerous, seriously. I've got so much energy to do, well, anything I want. Guys, put the pizza down, pick up the phone and call Jenny.
Yeah, I prefer the old one, but I think it's the AFL have asked us to come up with a new design, so yeah, it is what it is. I think hopefully we win in it. That'll be a good thing if we win Saturday night. I don't think it'll be good if we lose in it.
We've had the wood over St Kilda the last couple of years, but new coach that sort of injected a bit of pace into their side. But sort of not a totally different side, but a very different side to coach against.
Yeah, I think it's totally different. I think Scott Watter's done a fantastic job in the way he's been able to change their style, and whether you like the style they were before or now, I think if a coach can come in and change his style and have success with it, it shows his message is getting across, and his players are playing for him. So, you know, we're playing a very different St Kilda than the one we played last year, or the guys played the year before, and a team that, you know, is doing very well. So, you know, we're very conscious of the scoring power they've got, and that we need to obviously try and negate that scoring power.
You guys were really good last week, but how important is it to just follow it up? It's almost like the previous week doesn't mean anything if you don't, pulse it, so to speak.
Yeah, I think in this competition you've got to keep winning. And it's a problem if you look too far forward, but certainly, you know, we came off a good win last week and we've got some confidence out of that. But you're right, if we don't win this week, it's back to square one. So, you know, we've been putting a lot of work into St Kilda, what they do right, how we think we can exploit them. Yeah, Saturday night will be a real test for us.
You mentioned before that their scoring can be a little bit out, conceding a lot of high scores of late. Is that an area you think you can exploit?
Yeah, I think every team goes through periods where they relook at their defence and restructure their defence. And I think, you know, the way the coaches, the way the game's going at the moment, the way coaches are coaching is they analyse the way to score against other teams. So, you know, we've certainly had a look at the way we think we can score against St Kilda, but in the back of our minds, we're very aware that if we don't defend well, then there'll be a high score kicked against us. So there's two sides of the game that we have to keep in balance. Yeah.
They've struggled against tall forwards this year, given that. Did you consider bringing bell changes in this week, particularly with Cranberry going down and playing with three big guys?
Yeah, we certainly looked at it. We looked very hard at it. We looked very hard at Scott Gumberland as well. We just thought that Scott probably needed a little bit more time in the reserve, so he's pretty close, and it'd be great to have him back. But, you know, Stu Cranberry is such a versatile player and a very hard player to try and have like for like because of his power on the ground and in the air. So we decided to go with just Hurley and Ryder up there, and you know, we've got the option of, you know, Carlisle going forward if we need be. So we think we've got that covered, but it'll come down to how much ball we get into our forward 50 as to whether that forward line is set up properly.
Would Cranberry play this week without suspension?
Yeah, we think so. He had a knock against Fremantle, which caused him some problems against the Bulldogs. So we think it's not a serious injury, but we've been touch and go. So, you know, it's probably good for him that he's getting that rest.
With bell changes, is he in decent form in the team, and what does he have to do to get a game? Are you sensing that he's frustrated, that he sort of hasn't done anything wrong, that he can't get in, or what do you want from him to get there?
Yeah, Tom hasn't done a lot wrong. Unfortunately for Tom, he's only had one game in 3 weeks with the AFL bye, with a game like the game when we played Freo. He had a reserves game, and the VFL had a bye. You know, in this frustrating VFL season where there's, you know, 5 or 6 byes through the year, and they only play every, you know, 3 out of 4 weeks. It's hard for guys who are coming in and out and getting enough game time into them. Tom really knows what's needed of him. We think, as I said, we've got 3 very good ruckmen, and we're going to give them all game time over the next, 8 weeks, so that if we are lucky enough to be in the finals, we've got 3 guys that are fit and ready to go.
It's a great problem for you to have that selection, but for him personally, is there any danger that he's going to get annoyed and start looking elsewhere?
Well, he's got a contract, so that prevents him looking elsewhere. But, you know, there's no doubt he would be a little bit frustrated because, you know, he wants to play AFL football, and you know, we've had a lot of chats with Tom, and he knows what's required of him, and you know, he will play AFL football soon. So we need to manage how we manage the game time of Paddy, David, and also Tom.
John, a lot of the coaches are frustrated with that, the draw, the VFL draw. Are you one of them? Do you think something needs to be done about that, given it's such an important feeder for
Yeah, I just think we need consistency in our players playing every week and not missing a week here, missing a week there, and that's the frustrating part. The structure of the VFL is up to the Football Victoria or AFL Victoria, and I don't want to get involved in that. But what we need from our players who are playing reserves football on the fringe is a game every week, so that they're ready to go when they can, when they're up for selection. And I think every coach is a little bit frustrated by that inconsistency in game time.
McVeigh and Winderlick playing the VFL.
Winderlick will. McVeigh will miss one more week. He had, he's just getting over a slight knee problem I think he's playing next week. So yeah, Winderlick will play this week. Gumbleton plays this week. Which is very exciting for us, with Jason, after I think it's his first game since round 4 last year against Carlton. So it'd be great to have him back, and he's not far away from hopefully 2 or 3 games in the reserves, and we can put him up for selection.
It's going to be tough for Mark McVeigh to get back into this team. I mean, give him some players that sort of play his role, have come and done really well.
Look, I think it'll be based on his form, but knowing Mark's form over the past 12 years, I don't think it'll be tough for him. I think he needs to play good football. He'll play a couple of games in reserves and be up for selection like everyone else, but I'd expect that within 5 weeks, if everything goes well for him, he'll be back in the team.
Most teams seem to make late changes these days. We talk about 22, it's really talking about 25 now. Have you got anyone out there today who's still
I think we're right this week. I think most weeks you go in with 1 or 2 on a Friday session who you're not sure about. There's maybe one who's we've got 10% doubt on, but that's all. It really comes down to how their bodies pull up later in the week, and the soreness seems to be getting more and more as the year goes on. So we've got 1 or 2 that probably should be okay, and we're hoping they're okay. But I think every team goes in their last session just fingers crossed that their players get through. So I'd imagine our side will be as selected. Yeah.
How far away is Zach?
Yeah, Zach is probably another 4 or 5 weeks away. It's a pretty bad injury, the quads tendon which he tore. So we're very cautious with him. I'd say he's at least 4 or 5 weeks away from coming back. It's not a good injury that he had, and we want to be very cautious.
Has there been a setback there, or is it
hasn't been so much a setback. He got sore earlier this week in it, but it's not re-torn. It's just this quads tendon is if you ask anyone who's had one, you have to be very careful with them. And he's a fantastic player for us, the reigning best and fairest young player. We're going to be really, really careful with his quad, so that we've got him for the last 4 or 5 games, or 2 or 3 games of the year.
Given it's now sort of round 15, you're nearly playing every side. You've been in the top 4 for most of the season. Does that now become a realistic game for this team to finish in the top 4 in home and away?
Look, we'd love to be in the top 4 at the end of the home and away, but we also know that we've almost just got to, for that to happen, we've got to win almost every game from here on in, because I think the sides around us are going to be, you drop 1 or 2 and it's so close that won't be possible. So it's really dangerous to think to the end of the year with 9 games to go. But we'd love to be there. But I just think that we need to focus on what we've got this week, and that's St Kilda. And then the next week we'll do what we have to do. But this week or tomorrow we have a game against a side that I think is desperate for a win, and we'll play that way. And so we're under no illusion it's going to be a massive game for both clubs.
Just on Milne, do you remember his time?
Yeah, Milne. I remember Milne in training. I remember him on footy trips. I think Milne was a great character around the footy club, and obviously, very disappointed that we lost him, and probably unlucky that his year 1999 when he was here was sort of on the. We had Gary Moorcroft, Darren Buick, we had a number of small forwards of similar ability, but Milne would have been great at Essendon, and he's had a great career. So, I enjoy. I've enjoyed watching Stephen throughout his career.
Cam Mooney said last night he was the best small forward in his time in the game. Do you think he's in that category?
Yeah, I'm trying to think who else would rival him, but there's no doubt he'd be, he's right up there. And I think if you look at goals kicked, he's probably number 1. But he's a good character as well.
In a survey of AFL coaches, 5 nominated the Bombers as the team that's entering its premiership window, and that's Norway,
I hope they're right. I hope they're right. I think that it's such a fickle and changing industry that, yeah, we're trying to build a good team, but form, injuries, what other teams are doing can prevent that. So, our boys, I think, have now getting some confidence in the way we play, getting some confidence in the game plan. But it was 4 weeks ago that we lost a team that hadn't won a game yet. So you certainly get put back on your backside very quickly if you think too far ahead.
Just on the goal pressure, James, that you're in the season at the right level. I mean, it was a 17-game season, you were sort of getting towards the finals.
Yeah.
Is the way to go?
Look, I think different perspectives. If you think about it from a TV, marketing, amount of content of games, the AFL probably could even do it longer. But if you think of it from a player welfare point of view, then maybe a little bit shorter. I think you combine all the issues and it's about right. I'd love that our players every week were fit and everyone could play, and you had 10-day breaks between games, and you could bring players up and train them during the week. But it's not a reality. And I think the mix of the marketing for the game and where the game's at, that we play for 6 months a year and control the sporting landscape in Australia for that time, is really important for our game. And for that reason, I think the season's about right. Thanks, guys.